Thank you so much for joining us again on ＡPEX Contemporary Performance's 5th Anniversary Week. I'm Garrett Schumann, the President and Executive Director, and today I am joined by my friend, colleague, and co-founder in ＡPEX, Kevin Fitzgerald, our wonderful and amazing music director, the person who makes ＡPEX possible in almost every way, because there would be no music without you, Kevin. So can you believe that this is our 5th anniversary week, that on Monday was the 5th anniversary of our first concert?
I cannot believe it. It feels like a blur that just has flown by. But we've had so many amazing events along the way, and COVID really threw us for a loop, as it did for everyone in terms of our planning. But we're really excited for what 2021 has in terms of just what we're able to offer, even on a virtual level. So here we are to year 6. Hopefully, year 6 goes just as well as the others.
Yes, and to the note on the artists who weren't able to visit us last spring, Leah Claiborne, Anthony R. Green, the Honorable Elizabeth A. Baker, we're able to feature all of them this week in video interviews that you can find on our website, apexcontemporary.org. We have a special page that we set up with photos from our first concert, which we'll get to a little bit more content involving in a moment. The videos that we produced in October for the Ipsy Glow Festival, and those interviews that I just mentioned. So there's a lot for those of you joining us in our audience to explore and enjoy, not just this week, but going forward. And you can also find on our website our announcement for the spring of 2021. We have 2 exciting events, and it's amazing to still be doing this after 5 years and really going as strong as we ever have. And so we owe it as much to the amazing musicians that we've been able to work with as we do to the audience members and state, local, and regional arts organizations who have supported us through that time. So we wanted to share, because we're reflecting on 5 years, some audio from our very first concert, where we performed Hans Abrahamson's chamber ensemble piece Schnee. This was on December 7th, 2015. And I asked you, Kevin, to choose a selection. What did you choose for us?
I chose the very first movement in the Canon 1A. I chose it because the piece is called Schnee, or Snow, and it really gives you this sonic coefficient to the visual of snowflakes accumulating and gradually falling and hitting the earth at different times. But it looks like they're all falling together, but they actually land at very small fractions of different times. So I really love that. And any of the movements are genius writing, genius composition. But I thought, in terms of, if it's your first time listening to Abrahamson, that might be a nice starter. So let's have a listen to that.
Yes, and while we listen to that, we have included some beautiful written statements that we solicited from some of the composers and performers that we worked with over the last 5 years. And you can enjoy reading those as you enjoy listening to this movement from Hans Abrahamson's Schnee right now. So that was our the first sounds Apex ever brought to an audience, is what you just heard. A snippet from the first movement of Hans Abrahamson Schnee, which we played on December 7th, 2015, our very first concert, which took place in Ypsilanti, Michigan at the First Presbyterian Church, a venue that we returned to many times for rehearsals more than performances. And Ypsilanti, of course, is where we're headquartered and where I live. And so it's a very special place for us.
We
So
love it.
yeah, we love Ipsy and we're really excited to be based in Ipsy. Before we close, something that we were talking about discussing leading into this conversation was one big memory from the last 5 years. And we both decided to talk about our production of As One, the opera by Laura Kaminsky and et al., uh, which I can't remember when she wrote it, but we produced it in the spring of 2018 at Carytown Concert House. And this was one of our biggest projects, probably our biggest project that we've done. We planned some big things in the spring, of course, that didn't happen. And this is an idea that you brought to me, actually. And where did it come from?
Well, I was trying to learn more about opera as a genre and as a conductor, how to become, more well versed. And I was talking to Michigan faculty at the time, Kathy Kelly, who's a highly acclaimed opera conductor and coach. And I was asking, should I like get into opera by doing a standard work and kind of doing like a pared down, simplified, low budget production of that, or should I try to bite off something a little more timely and contemporary, and do it well? And she didn't even miss a beat. She said, "You'd absolutely just want to do something timely and contemporary, and don't worry about, you know, doing a marriage of Figaro in a church basement." I think that was the conversation we had. Just do something awesome. And so I brought this piece to Garrett because Kathy then recommended it. And we applied for a Macaca mini grant, Macaca being Michigan Council for the Arts and Cultural Affairs. And we were awarded a very substantial mini grant from them, a not so mini grant, if you will. And yeah, we found two great singers, Jenny Cresswell and Jonathan Lash, and our quartet of great players. And Kathy was actually the stage director. Her first time being the stage director, my first time conducting an opera, our first time doing an opera as an organization.
Yeah, there were a lot of firsts.
Yeah, and actually, you'll see what Laura Kaminsky thought of our performance. Well, you should know by now because you read it in the Schnee clip.
Yeah,
She said that our performance is one of the most memorable.
yeah.
So,
I'll set the stage a little bit for those who weren't able to attend or have never been to Carytown Concert House in Ann Arbor. It is literally a house, one of the early 20th century style homes that you find in Ann Arbor, and the performance space is in the first floor. And As One is an opera that, by the way, it was premiered in 2014, and the other members of the creative team are librettist Mark Campbell, who has won a Pulitzer Prize, and filmmaker Kimberly Reed. And this gets to one of the challenging things we had to deal with. There's a major video component to this opera, which is you have to do, and it's normally done in these incredibly elegant presentations, and we're a small organization, and so we had to find a way to work. We couldn't put anything on the walls at Carytown Concert House, so we got a big TV and did it that way. And it was no one had ever done it that way. But Laura, she was able to come to Michigan, and we were able to host her. To the first composer that we hosted as a guest in this capacity, and she and I traipsed around the University of Michigan campus, doing a lot of engagement with students there while she was here. But she really liked the way we were able to do it in that small space. The stage was, the performance space on the stage was probably 10 feet by 10 feet, maybe. It
yeah,
was
it was
very
extremely
small.
intimate. I mean, had I fallen off my stool, I would have fallen into the audience. Um, And it was so amazing to just feel that kind of electricity in the room of live theater, but having the space that the audience occupies, like the third wall was completely gone. The space that the aisle between the seats, that's was part of the staging. All entrances and exits were part of the staging. It was bare bones, but in a way that allowed the imagination to fill in the blanks. And
Mhm.
that's even like more engaging than like giving the giving all of the visual details to the audience in a way.
Well, in the story for people watching who don't know is based on Kimberly Reed's own life. It's semi-autobiographical, a coming of age story, a self-acceptance story about a transgender person um, accepting their identity. And so the intimacy of the performance space, I think this is what Laura really liked about it, um, helped people make that connection. And I was also really proud of how we partnered with multiple LGBTQ community organizations in Ann Arbor. We reached out to the Spectrum Center at University of Michigan, Out Bar, which fortunately has closed during the pandemic, and then the Jim Toy Center, which is a legendary community organization in Ann Arbor. And we also reached out to the trans librettist Aidan Feldkamp to do some writing for us to supplement the experience for our audience. And I was proud of how we handled that subject matter and built a coalition around it. And that was something new to us as well. We even had a visit from students at Interlochen who came all the way down in, I think it was early April, so still the treacherous wintry weather of Michigan to see it. And there's a wonderful photograph of you and Kathy talking to them, which we can show. And then uh, I'll never forget that we did two performances, and on the second night, we had an esteemed musical guest from Ann Arbor, William Bolcom, the Pulitzer Prize winning composer,
I
was,
remember that.
and it's the opera, the music is incredible. There's a lot of it that just comes to me as I'm walking around, doing chores or whatever. I'll just like get part of the opera in my head and sing it or something like that. And I remember after we finished that performance, William Bolcom was like begging you to see the score because he wanted to see how some of it was written, and he was just totally enthralled. So
It was very cool to see him there, but it was also very intimidating to see him in the audience. I mean, he was in the front row. Again, I could reach out and touch him if I wanted to. So it was a great experience for me personally as a human and as an artist. But I think for our organization, it kind of put us on the map in a way. And I think that it's kind of a model for how we wish to do all of our events, whether or not we're able to do it, where we have a very focused mission. The piece and the art is very pointed and has a point, a specific social aim, in addition to very high quality artistic performing, and then having a large community engagement component. I mean, it's
mhm.
really something that I think is going to be a model for us for many years to come.
Absolutely. That happened, pretty much halfway through our 5 years, and I think it was a turning point for so much good that's happened since then. Um,
Absolutely.
so after reflecting on that, I'll set up our final little bit, which is very special. So we're going to leave you with a never before heard clip from our world premiere recording and performance of composer Evan Ware's Symphony Number 2. He brought us to Central Michigan University, where he was teaching in March of 2019 to prepare, record, and perform this work with soprano Amy Petrangeli and an ensemble of artists from ＡPEX artists from actually around the country, including some faculty member at CMU. And that was another amazing experience. We got to work with students at CMU in a variety of capacities, and we had a wonderful audience for that concert. And as you will hear, the performance was stellar and the music is excellent that Evan gave us the honor to premiere. So we're going to close on this clip from Movement 6, Turn Over, from Evan Ware's Symphony Number 2. And the visuals that you're going to see is a compilation of photos from our residency. So you'll see Kevin and my face maybe, but you'll see a lot of the performers that we worked with, and you'll see how special an experience it was for all of us. So before we get to that, I'll just say thank you everyone who's been tuning into these videos, everyone who's come to an ＡPEX concert, performed on an ＡPEX concert, written music that has been shared on an ＡPEX concert, who runs a venue or an organization that we've partnered with. Thank you so much for making the last 5 years possible. We're not going anywhere. We're going to keep producing events like the ones that we've organized over the last 5 years, and we're so honored to be able to do that. So thanks all of you. Thank you, Kevin, for your
Thank
amazing
you, Garrett, and thank you everyone
partnership.
who's always supported me and Garrett and ＡPEX and everything that we do. And if you're seeing this for the first time, if this is the first you've heard of us, check out our website, look at some of the things we've done, and try to catch the next performance that we have coming up.
Yes. And with that said, let's close on Evan Ware's Symphony Number 2, Movement 6, Turn Over, featuring an ensemble of ＡPEX artists led by Kevin and soloist soprano Amy Petrangelli.